At the Utilita Arena, Newcastle, Ben Shalom, boxer, CEO and promoter, and Sky Sports are proud to announce two extremely talented boxers who will be joining the professional ranks under the Boxer banner. Introducing your Tokyo 2020 Olympic gold medalist and MBE Lauren Price, and Tokyo 2020 Olympics bronze medalist Kariss Artingstall. And now to begin the press conference, we go to the head of boxing development at Sky Sports, Mr. Adam Smith.
Thanks, Buddy. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. One of the most exciting days in a long time for us at Sky Sports, along with our brilliant partners at Boxer. It's been a fantastic journey so far over the last few months, but Ben and I were talking right in the early days, and these two names were right at the top of our list. Lauren and Kariss are fantastic fighters, wonderful amateurs. They're great personalities, they ooze charisma, and they're exactly what we need at Sky Sports and for Boxer. We are delighted to be announcing them today as new Boxer signees, fighters, representatives, but also on the Sky Sports platform, as we have built the biggest female stable in global boxing, and it's a really fantastic day. And here as well on the night where Savannah Marshall will defend her world title, we couldn't be happier. So over to Ben for a few words on what's been quite some 8-9 months trying to tie these two great girls down.
Yeah, I think this is probably the biggest milestone we've had since we started on Sky. We've been chasing these two for about 6-7 months. I think the difference in where we're at as to where we started is, at the start we were having to convince people that we could put on big shows, we could attract the biggest talent, and when you have, you know, two elite athletes, probably the best females we've got to offer in this country, you know, choosing to go with Boxer, and no doubt Sky Sports, it's a humbling moment for us, and we're going to do whatever we can to make sure these two girls achieve their potential and get to the very top of the sport. It's been a long 6 months. We're obviously delighted. We've got a gold medalist, a bronze medalist, but also medalists at the Europeans, the Commonwealths, the Worlds. And we made a big commitment to women's boxing since we started with Savannah, with Clarissa, with Caroline, with Tasha Jonas, with Ebony Jones and Georgia O'Connor, and now we bring through what we think will be the next generation, and we'll start to see the sport go from strength to strength. And yeah, just delighted to have you two, and I'll throw over to the press and to JD to ask whatever questions they have.
We're going to hand over to the press any minute now just to get a couple of questions, but I'll just kick off from the press section. I just want to know from both of you, first of all, welcome to the team, welcome to the Boxer stable, of course, and the Sky Sports stable, array of talent, as Ben and Adam were just alluding to. But what excites you the most about now you start your professional careers?
I'm just delighted to sign with Boxer. I really think Ben's done a great job, especially for women's boxing. And I can't see no greater platform than Sky Sports, so myself and of course Kariss as well, we can't wait to get started.
Literally just what Lauren just said, Ben's doing wonders for the sport, I think, especially on the female side of things. Like, he just named phenomenal talent in the likes of Tasha Jonas, Clarissa Shields, Savannah Marshall, and I just feel honoured and excited to get the journey going now along athletes like themselves I've just mentioned.
I think just my follow-up question before we start hand it open up to the opening is just, do you feel like this is the best time and the most encouraging time you've seen female boxers and women boxing in the direction it's going right now in Britain?
Most definitely, like the female pool at the minute is just growing and growing, and now's the right time. Obviously I could have stayed on for the Olympics, but I'd have been 30 odd by then, and I'm turning 28 this year, so I just think now's the most perfect timing for me.
Yeah, and for myself, as an amateur, I ticked every box, won gold at every major tournament, topped her off by winning gold at the Olympics, so for me, yeah, it was a no-brainer really to turn over and chase a dream of becoming world champion and following in the footsteps of like Savannah, Tash and Clarissa.
Looking forward to the reception you will get, no doubt, around the whole of the UK. We can take some questions from anybody in the media if they have any open questions. Big Bunsey, of course.
Yeah, thanks. It's a delight. Great that you're finally doing it. What's the temptation to stay though for the Commonwealth? It's really big, especially for you, Kariss.
So that was my initial thought before going into the Olympics. I've medalled at the Worlds, the Europeans, the World, did I just say the Worlds? The Worlds, the Europeans and the Olympics, but prior to the Olympics, in my mind I was like, do I go and do the Commonwealth Games? Because I medalled at the Olympics, that made my decision up for me. The Olympics is the biggest platform in the amateur games. I've medalled there, so like I said, I'm pushing on to 28, now's the time for me to be turning pro.
Any more follow-up questions?
I've got one here. Yeah, just for Adam and Ben, really. You mentioned all these wonderful names in Tasha, Jonas, Savannah, Mike. Of course. Andrew Carr, TV. For Ben and Adam, you rattled off a good number of names there. Tasha, Jonas, Savannah Marshall, Georgia O'Connor, like just Olympic medalist. Can Sky and Boxer put on an all-female card? Is that something that's been talked about?
Well, I think actually having a female being able to headline on a main event like this tonight shows how far we've come. I don't think it happened before we arrived. I think we're seeing with Savannah Marshall what women can bring to the sport. I don't think there needs to be a differentiator anymore. We're going to see a big crowd tonight. It's not a Newcastle card, and that's just for Savannah Marshall, and I've said that, and I think that shows where the sport really can go. And look, we've seen it in football, we're seeing it in the UFC. Women are now on a par with the men, and we want to be at the forefront of that in boxing. We've signed these girls for a reason. We've signed Clarissa, we signed Savannah very, very quickly. We also have the Tokyo colleague of theirs, Caroline Dubois, and we just think we can take, after the good work that Eddie did on the platform with Sky in terms of bringing the women's sport into the public eye, we think we can now kick on and take it to the next level.
Yeah, we did have a big show with Katie Taylor, and she was pretty keen on the fact that men were on the card as well. She wanted to be a mixed card. I think that the great thing is that there's so many fantastic fighters, male and female, around in Britain, around the world at the moment. It's been really important to us at Sky over the last few years to build the female stable up. I think Katie was a pioneer. Savannah, Tasha, Terry, Chantal, fantastic, and we've had some amazing fights. And now it's the new generation. Caroline Dubois, an incredibly exciting young fighter. And as for Kariss and Lauren, as I said, they were top of the list. They're not just brilliant inside the ring, they've got fantastic personalities outside of it, they've got great backstories, they're a partnership, and they're going to lead us forward. And I think that's really, really exciting for women's sport generally, and it's about time.
And let's make no mistake, the two of them are commercially valuable properties. There was a reason why every promoter in the country wanted them. This isn't some sort of, right, let's give them an opportunity or whatever. They're serious athletes, they're at the top of the game, and people are looking forward to seeing what they can do in the professional sport, and we're just delighted to be part of it.
This is Matt for Into Boxing. Question to you both. How difficult a decision was it to make this jump, because there's so many different platforms out there? Obviously Ben's delighted to have you on board, but was it quite a stressful time listening to offers and seeing which way you wanted to go?
At the start, like when we come back from the Olympics, a lot of people, promoters, managers, like bombarded us with messages. It was all new to us. We didn't know what to expect. We just come back from the Olympics, so it was all new to us, like I said. It blows your mind a little bit, because some of them sell you the dream, make it sound like a fairy tale to you, I suppose. But then when you take a step back and you overthink, me and Lauren sat down, had a chat with one another and discussed what the best route would be to go down. It was a no-brainer at that point. It was obviously Sky Sports Boxing, the biggest platform in the world, and Ben Shon, and like I said, he's doing wonders for the sport.
We were pretty stressed all the way through. And then Lauren showed me last night, she's got my card still on her phone and she carried it all the way through. So they had no doubt. We were fighting every bit of the way, and that's why this is such a great day.
Yeah, we just had to keep you on your toes for a bit, that's all.
Boxing Thinking Media. A question for both of you. What kind of weight will you both be fighting at, and how quickly do you want to progress?
So I'll be boxing at welterweight, coming down. Obviously I box at middleweight as an amateur. But yeah, I'm coming down now, more rounds, longer rounds, and I just want to take, you know, small steps, improve every fight, and probably look maybe 14 to 16, 18 months, hopefully getting a world title then, but I don't want to be rushed, and yeah, just as long as I'm stepping up each fight.
Pretty much what Lovis just said there, a step up each fight. As long as I'm performing well, then give me the step up and I'll take out whoever's in front of me. Same again, 12 to 18 months for a world title shot. I'll be looking at competing at featherweight for my debut, possibly go down to super bantamweight.
That's it. Alright, thank you everyone for coming. Obviously everyone's available for one-on-ones now, but thanks for turning up, and obviously look forward to tonight.